When we use our language, what makes a group of words and their meanings more accurate and functional to express our ideas than others, according to the social context in which we are involved? This question is what functional linguists have been trying to answer since the late 20th century, when Holiday introduced functional grammar to study the language by focusing on aspects that are not related to the grammatical relations between words, but rather to their meanings. Hello everyone, my name is Angela Moreno, and today I'm going to talk about the textual metafunction with my classmates Diana Rivas, Rafael Pernia, Asbelmy Gutiérrez, and Daniel Tong. Functional grammar is a study of the form of sentences and their functions in a language according to different social contexts. We can find this information in Holiday's book titled An Introduction to Functional Grammar, in which he developed the theory about the fundamental functions of a language. It is important to know that functional grammar is in opposition to structuralism and its formal and explicit way of explaining the forms of a language, and not the deeper functional meaning in social interaction. Language can be functional in three metafunctional aspects: textual, interpersonal, and ideational. Each metafunction has a system in the networks for classes, nominal groups, and verbal groups. For example, the textual metafunction helps organize the message within and between classes, and it is closely related to the theories of cohesion. Matheson and Holiday stated that the textual metafunction is concerned with the creation of text with the presentation of ideational and interpersonal meanings as information that can be shared by speaker and listener in text unfolding in context. One of the major textual systems is theme, the resource for setting up a local context for a class by selecting a local point of departure in the flow of information, or perhaps rather swell of information, since it is not a uniform flow. The textual function is the meaning of the text as a whole. Holiday and Matheson say that the text is a process of making meaning in context, and language is in the first instance a resource for making meaning. These authors also claimed that the text is any instance of language in any medium. As I mentioned, in textual metafunction, linguists analyze classes in terms of two systems called the theme and the rime. Holiday describes the theme as the information that works as a point of departure of any given message, and it is also familiar to the context. It can be identified by noticing the word that takes precedence in a class, and therefore the first element of a class is the theme, and it can be identified by following that order. On the other hand, rime is a part of the class in which the theme is developed. The rime includes new information or unfamiliar information, and it can be identified by simply understanding that everything is not the theme, is the rime. This means that when we already identified the theme, we have also found the rime. Once we understand both concepts, we can examine the different types of theme. There are three elements of class structure that can be considered as a theme. The first one is topical element. The topical theme consists of a participant, a process, or a circumstance of the class. As Holiday stated, we can say that when an element occurs at the beginning of a class, it's assigned to a transitive function. So we have a topical theme. Let's illustrate the previous concept. We have the class. In Venezuela, they welcome you wonderfully. Where? In Venezuela, which is a circumstance location that shows an example of a topical theme, leaving of course the rest of the sentence to be the rhyme. Number 2, interpersonal element. Partridge defines the interpersonal theme as that element that is located before the rhyme and that indicates the relations between participants in the text or the point of view or position that is being assumed in the class. For instance, we have the class. Do you know that right, Jeffrey? The word do constitutes the interpersonal theme, while the word you can be identified as a topical theme, with the rest of the sentence as the rhyme. Number 3, textual elements. These ones consist of items that accomplish a cohesive function by relating the clause to its context. So they do not express any experiential or interpersonal meaning. And there are two types of these textual elements. Continuity adjuncts. There are words or items that are used in spoken speech and that are used by the speaker in a way or another to relate to the words of a previous speaker. So, example of these words could be yeah, oh, no, or right. Specifically, when these words are placed at the beginning of the clause. As in the following example. Oh, and they have cookies? The word oh as a continuity adjunct, an element that is continuing the previous conversation, used at the very beginning of the clause, and therefore considered to be a textual theme. Conjunctive adjuncts. These consist of elements that help to link sentences together. Among these, we can find tactic conjunctions, which are used to link clauses together, and therefore they will be found in the first position of a clause. For example, the words and but. While cohesive conjunctions serve to link sentences together, such as the words therefore, however, so that. For this reason, they might occur in different positions. In this sense, we can simply say that the conjunctive adjunct is a conjunction in the sentence. An example of this can be the sentence, and she arrived safely. We can easily identify the word and as a tactic conjunction, as well as a conjunctive adjunct of the sentence. In this example, we can also notice that the word she can be identified as a topical theme. As we have previously mentioned, the rest of the sentence can now be classified as a rhyme. As we have seen, the clauses we find in our text must have a topical theme, and once we found it, the rest of the sentence can be now identified as well. Now, let's talk about clauses. What is a class? A class is a collection of words that together make sense, but not completely. Moreover, classes have a clear subject, predicate, meaning, and finite verb. However, the subject can be disguised, but the verb must be apparent. Today we are going to talk about two types of classes. The first one is independent class, and the second one is dependent class. An independent class includes a subject and a verb and shows an entire notion. The major class can exist as a complete sentence because it can stand on its own as a valid sentence, so they do not require extra information. For example, they eat very well. My mom has a new car. I bought an apartment. When it comes to dependent class, we can say that it is a group of words that has a subject and a predicate, but does not have a complete idea. Therefore, the independent class cannot stand alone as a meaningful sentence. In fact, it is used with the independent class to provide assistance. As in the following examples. That man who is wearing a jacket is the best professor. Singing my favorite song, I could quickly. We can notice here that the clause who is wearing a jacket does not have a complete idea. Types of dependent clauses or subordinate clauses. Noun clause, adjective clause, and adverbial clause. A noun clause functions similarly to a noun and a pronoun, but cannot exist as a sentence. For example, I remember what she did. My husband did what I love. We can notice here that the clauses what she did and what I love can be replaced with the pronoun it. When it comes to adjective clause, we can say that it is basically a generic adjective that includes a subject and a predicate. This type of clause has a relative pronoun, that, who, whose, etc., or a relative adverb, where and when, at the beginning of the clause. For example, my son who lives in London is an artist. The car, which we saw yesterday, is very expensive. Finally, adverbial clause. It is a group of words that contains a subject and a verb, which functions as an adverb. So it provides a description or modifies the sentence. However, it does not express a complete idea. For example, he talked as if he were a president. I cannot go out because I don't have money.
Now, it is time to talk about the practical examples in textual metafunction with cohesion, theme and rhyme, and clause relations. As it was explained before in the first part, textual metafunction talks about cohesion, theme and rhyme, and clause relation. All of them are together, are connected, but we are going to try to divide them in three and explain them separately in order for you to understand a little bit more about each part. As we mentioned before, cohesion is the connection between two ideas by or through a linking word or a linking element that connects the two ideas to each other. So, let's put this into practice. We have two images. The left one is a list of words that are called linking words. These linking words help us to connect, to link two or more ideas to each other. As we can see, we have different types of linking words according to the function that linking word has. For example, to show contrast, we can use but to express reasons, we can use because. To give examples, we can use for example, such as, or for instance. And to add more information, we can use and, also, in addition, and other words. In the other image, we can see a list of sentences in which these linking words are being used. For example, in the first sentence, we can see, I am happy and excited. And is a linking word that adds more information. We are describing how that person is feeling. And that linking word and is connecting happy and excited and is giving us more information about that person. In the second sentence, we can read, I am happy for your achievement. This linking word for is being used here to give reasons why I'm feeling happy. We are connecting two ideas. In the third sentence, we can read, I am happy but nervous. And we can infer that this but is being used to express contrast. Why? Because happy, it's kind of different of nervous. So we are explaining that even though we feel happy, we also feel nervous. Two different adjectives with two different meanings are connected to each other in the same sentence. The same thing happens with the rest of the sentences. As we can see in the rest of the examples, linking words are used here to connect, to link two ideas, two clauses to each other, in order to create a new sentence that will express what we want to say in a clearer way. Also, this linking function will help us giving more fluency and cohesion to our speech or written work. Use them wisely. We will explain theme and rhyme in simple examples. In declarative clauses, non-declarative clauses, predicate theme, and thematized comment. Now let's talk about theme and rhyme. As you could see in the theoretical part, this has a lot of information that could confuse us for a moment. That's why we will put into practice not all of the elements involved in the theme and rhyme. As it can be seen in the first example, the theme in the first case is Darwin's The Origin of Species, because it determines the topic of our sentence. And the published in 1859 was hugely influential in is the rhyme due to it add more information, add more elements to the theme. In the case of the second example, in declarative sentences, the theme is shown with the word it, which tells the writer what are we writing about. Also, it is related to the previous sentence in where the theme has introduced the reader to the topic. On the other hand, the clause has often been referred to as the book that shocked the world, function as the rhyme because it adds new information. It refers to what we want to tell to our audience about the information that we as writers have been providing. In the third example, the theme how shows that the intention of the sentence is to look for information that is stated in the rhyme with the phrase, did Darwin's theory change evolution knowledge at that time? The function and aim of the sentence are established in the theme and rhyme. In the case of the predicate theme and rhyme, they are typed as that, based on the fact that in the theme, we begin the sentences with a gerund instead of a noun or a pronoun. The same case in thematized comment. As it can be observed, the theme established that the rim is based on a personal opinion, a comment, or a personal point of view. Our last part is related to class relations. As it was mentioned before, a class is an idea by itself. These classes can be classified as the main or independent class and subordinated or dependent class. The latter being subdivided in three categories according to the function: noun clause, adjective clause, and adverb clause. In the case of independent clause, we can read, "The secret of life is honesty." This sentence is a full idea that does not depend on any other information to transmit a message. In the case of subordinated or dependent clause, specifically in the noun clause sentence, we can see that the noun phrase functioning as a subject. Whatever you want is fine for me. The whatever you want part is a noun phrase and it is working as a subject in the sentence. After that, we have the adjective or relative clause. In the example, the tiger that was angry snarled at me, we can observe that the clause that was angry is describing how the tiger was at that moment. This information is not essential to the main clause. Nevertheless, helps to transmit a clearer idea about the situation itself. An important detail, it can be said, most of the times this clause begins with a relative pronoun, as, that, which, who, and so on. Our last case and example is related to adverb clause. It says, "I will eat my broccoli after I eat this cookie." In this example, the adverb clause, "after I eat this cookie," modifies when the main action will occur. It conditions the previous situation, saying that it will happen later the second. As you can see, all these elements are important for us as teachers, due to they help us explaining the choices a speaker or writer makes in combining the ideas and reality that he or she wishes to express, along with the relationship that he or she hopes to project and develop. The textual metafunction helps organize the message within and between clauses and is closely linked to theories of cohesion. Thank you very much for watching us. Bye!